Welcome to Not From Here, a podcast dedicated to past versions of ourselves
and the current versions of all of you. We are your co-hosts. I'm Riley Klauza.
And I am Isa Rodriguez. And we are just a couple of Michiganders turned New Yorkers trying to get a grip.
Have you ever been made fun of for the way you say things or thought, damn, I never even realized I had an accent?
Well, we have too, because we're definitely
not from here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yay! Hi! Who is with us today?
I'm Chloe Gabila.
Hi, Chloe Gabila.
Oh my God.
We are so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome, and also kind of welcome to the city. You just got in a little bit ago, yeah?
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Couple days.
So-
Tell us a little bit about your journey into the city.
Started ages ago.
Yes.
Back in 2018, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah. I was doing my college auditions and focusing in Australia.
Okay.
And then my mum saw one in New York and we were coming here for a family trip. So she was like, why don't you just audition when you're over there?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we did it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think anything of it. So got in and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
5 years later, I guess.
Wow. That's crazy. So you're from Australia.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us where you're from.
Of course. Yeah. I'm a Sydney gal.
Okay.
So East Coast of Australia.
Okay, East Coast.
East Coast, yeah. I actually thought it was West Coast for a little while, but it is East Coast. Yeah, I grew up, born and bred in the north of Sydney. It's been a time. I love Sydney.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I have been told that it's a small town in a big city.
Okay.
Because we do have a couple million there, but doesn't feel like a big city like New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure,
Oh.
especially where I'm from. But yeah, I just grew up singing, dancing, all the things, and now I'm here.
And now I'm here. How often do you come into the city, and like how often do you spend time in Australia? Like, what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so I was here for 3 years, full time, other than pandemic.
Okay, yes.
Went home for the pandemic for a
Oh
little
my
bit.
God. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
forgot the pandemic. So I want to hear about that. Okay, keep going. And then we'll circle back.
Of course. And then, visas are a bit tricky with the States as an
Yeah.
Australian. So I was here full time for 3 years and then went home and I've been on and off for like a year and a half.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
can try to get my time back in the States because
Yeah.
I do love it here.
Yeah.
So,
Pandemic?
Yeah, wait.
Sure.
So you started school and you went to AMDA, correct?
Yes, I went to
Okay.
AMDA.
So yeah, tell us about that. And then I want to hear about your whole college process overall, but then the pandemic and how that affected you
Yeah.
being in New York City.
No, definitely. So I auditioned in December of 2018, found out January 2019 that I got in. And so I was coming in the fall of 2019. Little 18-year-old Chloe
Dang.
moving
Oh
over.
my, that timing.
I know, not fall of 2019.
2019.
No, I know.
Our peak.
I'm like, things were about to go.
I know, listening to you guys on the podcast, I'm like, oh my God, that was my peak too.
You're like, me too. I literally moved to New York.
I moved across the world by myself. Like, yeah, it was great.
That's amazing.
Well, Dad came over for like a couple days.
Okay.
And then as soon as I hit classes, he was like, okay, peace. And I was like, bye. I guess. So I started fall of 2019. AMDA is a conservative program, so it's a bit accelerated.
Okay.
And so by March of 2020, I was in my second semester and the world shut down. And I remember it so clearly because I was an RA at AMDA and we had an RA meeting that morning and we had heard Pace and Columbia had just called it quits. So us RAs are like, what's happening? Like, what's going to go forward? And I remember the RA manager was like, oh, like, we don't know. And then like the head of AMDA walked in and he goes, yeah, we're sending out the email at 2 p.m. You guys cannot tell anyone. And I was like, oh, okay, Matt's close. And then I remember we were in a film class and everyone got the text at the same time, even our teacher. And he was so good about it. He was like, everyone, class is over, make your phone calls, work out what you're doing. And we were like, okay. And little Australian Chloe.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was
what
like-
the fuck do you do?
We also, no one knew what was in store.
No.
So
yeah.
we got told it was going to be a 1 week spring break
Mhm.
and
oh
then
my God.
2 weeks of online classing, then we'll be back. And
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, you're like, I can just chill.
I can do that. And I literally had all my friends, left friends, and be like, oh my God, come to Buffalo, come to Canada, come to wherever.
Wherever I'm from. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, just come to Iowa. Like,
Iowa.
no, I know. So I was like,
All places.
I was like,
God.
okay. So we'd been dating for less than a month. And I was like, let's go to Iowa. So I went to Iowa for a week. And then I was in Houston for my online classes with family.
Okay.
And then I like did it. And I was like, a week and a half into online classes, I was like, why am I paying so much money for this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
I just, this isn't going to be a 2 week stint. This is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So luckily Amber was like very much like defer and do what you want. Like you're an international as well. Like
Yeah.
we know so much is on the line for you. So yeah, I went home and I don't know if you knew this, but Australia during the pandemic was so strict.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Tell
So
us a little bit.
When you flew in, you landed, the airport was deserted, obviously, because no one was traveling.
yeah.
And all like the army troops were there and like the police guiding you from the plane to the carriage cell, like the luggage carousel, to the buses where you got shipped to a hotel room
Oh my God.
for 2 weeks of quarantine by yourself. Or like if you're with a partner, you could be with
you
a
could
partner.
be with them.
Yeah.
And so I was in the city by myself for 2 weeks in quarantine, and which was good for my jet lag because it means that I could talk to people in Australia, talk to people
Yeah.
in America, and work myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no like form of physical human contact for 2 weeks, which was
That's
Because they just don't want you to bring
No,
anything. Yeah,
exactly.
they just like want to make sure. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So that was insane. Luckily, I hadn't started Grey's Anatomy.
that is the best thing to watch.
exactly. So I did 5 seasons in 2 weeks,
As you
which is
should.
insane.
It's
to
that
think about.
easy.
Exactly.
It's just it just flows and flows and
Exactly.
flows. Oh my God.
So yeah, I did that, and then I was in Sydney for 8 months, which was good because Australia was a little bit more like relaxed with everything because they had the quarantine. We were able to open up quicker,
Okay.
so I was able to work. And yeah, and then Amber was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have hybrid classes starting the fall of 2020," and I was like, "Okay." So then I came back fall of 2020.
Wow.
Did my 2 weeks quarantine over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then from it was smooth sailing again, I guess.
and it worked out okay. Like
Yeah.
fall of 2020, you were hybrid.
I was hybrid. I did get COVID twice.
It happened.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Like I've had it a couple times.
I was back being an RA, so I was in charge of all my floors.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, I had the freshmen on my floor,
Yeah.
and it's a bit chaotic. And they kind of shut the school down, but it's fine.
Yeah. They're
We
all
got there.
snotty and they like
Literally, and I
Running
remember,
around,
I
drinking,
remember
yeah.
telling the one person who started the COVID spread, being like, "Put your mask on."
yeah.
Like, and he was like, "No, it's fine." I was like, "No, you're gonna get a fine," because they were like strict on their fines.
Yeah.
Like $250 fine at AMDA.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's fair.
It makes
especially if
sense,
you
yeah.
shut down the school.
And he did. And so I was like, and then he never came back after that. And I was like,
he
okay,
knew.
bye.
He's like, I can't
She
show
was
my
like,
face
that's all I
again.
wanted, just to give COVID to everybody at school.
Everyone
Exactly. And so,
made
yeah.
its mark.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a bit hectic, but
That
we got
is
there in the
hectic.
end.
And so then when did you graduate? Because it's a
Yeah.
2-year
Yeah.
program? Okay.
You can take summers off,
Okay.
but I was like,
Might
no.
as well
Yeah,
just-
might as well just,
Yeah.
I have the momentum. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
So I graduated at the end of the summer of 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Right in between us.
I know.
I know. Because I graduated end of 2021 and you graduated May.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was right in that middle summer semester.
Yeah. Okay. If you don't mind me asking,
course.
how old are you?
23.
23.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I feel like that's a
Gosh.
great age to like already be done with like
Yeah,
everything. Like, you were
everything.
done so early probably.
I was.
yeah.
Which was insane to think about because like I go home and people are still finishing off their bachelor's degrees.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh.
You're like, wow, that could have been me, but here I am.
Yeah, I can't be bothered writing an essay right now. Are you kidding? Good for you though.
Okay, so I'm curious what the college audition process looked like for you. I know you said you were auditioning for schools in Australia and then here. Like, what did that look like, and how is it different from, I guess, like the American process? If
course.
is it different at all? I don't even know.
Well, yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, because AMDA it's a conservatory. I didn't really have to do my SATs or any of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have ATARs in Australia.
Okay.
So like, well, in New South Wales, the state that I'm from, where they like rank you amongst all your peers. Like everyone sits down for the exact same test at the exact same time.
God.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Yeah, it was hectic. And so you get in the percentile. And so they just transferred my ATAR into what would be my GPA over here, which my mum and I are like still sus about how they did that because didn't configure it, but whatever.
Okay.
We got through.
You're like,
but
it
yeah,
worked out,
It
but
worked out, but like bit sus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so performing arts colleges in Australia don't need a high ATAR. So I just like auditioned, hope for the best. And I think I was very selective with the colleges that I had auditioned for because I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, may as well just like be there at the best of the best.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for one in each state in Australia. And there's, well, okay, no, I auditioned for maybe 4 out of the 7 states.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we had the one in New York. And I remember my New York one because I went in. I sang Johnny One More Note was from Babes in Arms, my little golden age.
Love that song.
Yeah.
That was my Golden Age college audition song.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's such
I'm
a good one.
obsessed. It's a great one.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
String theory. But yeah, so did my little song, and I remember the audition panel was like, "You a dancer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And goes, "Yeah, I can tell from your breathing." I was like, "Oh, okay."
From my breathing.
I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." But like, thanks. And then I had my like little interview, and it like went smoothly. And then I remember just racing from 61st and 10th down to, I think it was to Amsterdam where Waitress was performing, like sprinting down to go see Waitress
Oh my God.
with my mom and my aunt. And they're like, "How was it?" And I was like, "I think I did good."
You're like, I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know.
think
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah. And I remember my mum got the email in January of 2019 at 5:30 a.m. Sydney time. She runs into my room. She's like, "You got in." And I was like, "What?"
Morning.
Morning, I guess. And they're like, "Yeah, you got in. Like, it's so exciting." And I was like, "Okay, can I go back to sleep?"
I can be excited in like a couple hours.
Yeah. And then she was like, "Okay." And then it was like an hour and a half later. And she was like, "It's 7 o'clock. Like, wake up. Like, we're going to make a phone call." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh.
And then from there, it was basically my mum being like, "You're going." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
You're like,
I
sure,
guess so.
fine, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like it was like, of course, Broadway's the dream and like all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. But I didn't see myself moving to New York that early on in my life.
That's fair.
So I wasn't one of those kids, but I was like, I'm moving to America to go do the college experience. So yeah, it was very much so like, okay, like I guess I'm gonna go. And I was like so conflicted because I had my high school sweetheart in Australia. My best friends were there. And I was like, what's going to happen? And I moved and I was like, oh my gosh, it's best choice and decision of my life. Like I couldn't think of my life any differently now.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out that way for you. And I mean, now you have all of this experience in New York, right? And you also kind of have this experience when it comes to traveling, like when it comes to contracts and tours and whatever that may be. Like you've kind of got a step ahead of people that have never done that, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And it's so interesting going back home and looking at the audition space over there
Yeah.
and just being like, wow, this is insane compared to America because all my connections are over here. So I'm like, this is a bit scary going back into the Australian world.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's worked out so far.
Good.
And were you seen as like the girl that like got out? Like
No, for
she
sure.
made it.
Literally, I have my best friends at home and they're like, Chloe, like, thank God you got out of Sydney. Like, even out of Sydney's north, like, thank God you got over to the States because, like, it's the same. Like, I go home every time. And I remember that was also another thing I was hesitant about. Like, everyone would have moved so far on with their lives and I would have gone and forgotten about. But I get home and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
My favorite barista is still at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still considered one, I guess you could say, regular at the bar. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's changed. So
Yeah, that is very interesting. It's also interesting hearing you talk about that, about where you're from so like across the world from us, but yet I definitely relate to that a lot. Like when you go home and you feel like you're like leaving something and it's really sad, but then you go home for like the holidays and I go out for Thanksgiving and I'm like, oh, my entire high school and college is at this one bar and I can do it for a night, but then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go
I left for a
back.
reason.
I left
Yeah.
for a reason. Like, I'm ready to go back to New York.
Oh, yeah. Like, I had my 5-year high school reunion last year.
Oh my God.
And I remember
Wow.
going and I didn't want to go, but my best friend's like, can you come please? Come. And I was like,
That's fair.
Okay.
You're going to be the star of the show.
No, I know. But
New
I was
York
also
girl.
like, if anyone asks me about New York, I'm taking a shot. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like thinking every time someone's like, why are you here? Why aren't you in New York? And I was really drunk by the end of that night.
So it worked out in your favor.
It worked out in my favor. But yeah, it was very much so like, why are you back here? And I was like, I don't know why I'm back here,
Yeah.
but I guess I have to be. Like,
You're like,
visas.
for you, for this.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
why I came back.
Exactly. But luckily I was coming back to New York a week later. So I was like, oh, I'm actually heading back on Thursday. So
Yeah.
right, don't get your panties in a twist. Like I'm
You're like, I'm just here for okay.
Yeah.
for a little stint. Yeah. I love that.
Okay, so when you graduated college, you had a contract, correct?
Yeah.
Can we hear about it?
Of course. Yeah. So because we were in pandemics, and it was actually really good. They shift their fourth semester times
Okay.
and scheduling for like instead of an 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. schedule, you get 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. so that you can audition during the day
Love that.
and go to those
Oh
open
my
calls
God.
and go to those.
Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Well, they're also like, we're in the city. We're like 30 blocks from Pearl and Ripley. We're going to
Yeah.
expect you to go down. And instead of missing class, may as well just shift it for you.
Yeah.
So
No better experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
But we're in a pandemic.
Yeah. So not much.
So I was doing self-tapes.
Yeah.
And there was like so many self-tapes
Mhm.
that I did. Like I was in international, so I was like, I need to be seen.
Yeah.
And so I would get at the studio at like noon, self-tape till 6, then keep going. So yeah, I was doing 12 self-tapes a week or so.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until my senior showcase where my choreographer and I worked really closely because I did I Can't Stand Still from Footloose.
Oh, slay.
And she was like, we were in our tech and I remember she texted me on Instagram, was like, hey, like, do tap. And like I got out of tech and I was like, saw her in the hallway and I was like, yeah, I do tap. Like, everything okay? And she was like, yeah, just send me your headshot and resume. I have something for you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did. And it was for a production of White Christmas. And she got me a self-tape and then I got a call back. And I remember walking into that holding room and being like, oh my God, I'm the youngest here. Like I wasn't even 21 yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I had teachers from AMDA in the holding room. And I was like, like, this is so scary.
That's
Oh,
wild.
yeah.
And like, I'm not the strongest tapper as well. Like I can tap. And I remember doing the tap routine and I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like Ricky Fresh, first in-person audition in New York. Like,
Yeah.
And then I got a call back, sang Johnny One Note.
Always.
I'm
Over Glen
obsessed with
Musical.
that.
And then I got cut. And I was like, fair enough. This makes so much sense, like so valid. And then like a month later, I get a call back for Charlie Brown Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it was on Monday. And they're like, yeah, your final callback's on Friday. And I was like, I don't know if I submitted for this, but okay, I guess I'm going to show up. Because I remember it being on my list of self-tapes to do, but I think that week I was getting pumped. So I was like, no, it's okay. I won't do Charlie Brown Christmas. I'll like prioritize other things.
Yeah.
And I go into the callback and I stuff up my song. I was doing Fly Into the Future and I like the first 2 bars in, I bodged the lyrics. So I was like, oh, I'm going to restart. And they're like, yeah, fine, go for it. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. And so I did it, sang through it, did my sides. And they're like, okay, you're going to come for a dance call later. And I was like, great. And I was like, Charlie Brown Christmas, like, surely it's not that big of a dance call. So I was like,
Mhm.
what is the requirements for the dance call? Like, because I was wearing this cute like dress, like mini dress from Zara. And they're like, no, it's just like maybe a battement and a pirouette, like a single pirouette. I was like, great. Yeah, I don't need to change.
Oh God.
So I didn't change. And I went and it was a 40-person dance call. And we did it. And it was very like the first initial call was like easy,
Mhm.
Okay.
cartoony character work. And I was like, great, this is fine. And then they started doing cuts. And I was like, cool. And then all of a sudden there was 7 of us left. And they're like, we're doing a different combo. And I was like, great, that's fine. I can pick it up. And it was for Snoopy, who was a dancer role.
Yes.
He does more than a pirouette and a kick. So I was like, oh, great, this is so fun. And I did it. I was like soaked my dress because I was sweating so much. Thank God I wore shorts because everyone would have seen everything.
Yeah.
And then the call ended at 4:30 and I had my final AMDA callback. Well, final AMDA final.
Okay.
at 6 p.m. And then I did my finals. And by Monday, I had the contract.
Booked the Charlie Brown.
Yeah, which is insane.
God.
That's kind of iconic. You booked it in your dress.
Yeah.
And I literally talked to the choreographer afterwards, like during the contract. And I was like, remember when you told me it was just a pirouette? She goes, no, I remember you doing the Snoopy call in your dress.
In
I was
your
like,
Zara
good.
dress.
Good.
You're like,
thank
that
you.
was sabotage.
Yeah. Well, because I only came in for a female swing role. So I don't even think that they were looking at me for Snoopy.
Yeah.
But like the dance call happened. They're like, oh, she can actually dance. And I was like, cool. But yeah, no, it was insane.
Wow.
I had a 2-week break and then we were straight into rehearsals
Wow. And where was that contract?
in New York.
In New York.
So they had 2 casts. They had a New York sit-down cast
Okay.
and a national tour.
Okay.
And I was in the New York sit-down cast. And I remember it was 2 weeks rehearsal for everyone, all the
Okay.
casts, and then 2-week break for the New York cast while they teched the national tour. And then we had a weekend of rehearsals, I think, and then we teched out of town in Chappaqua. And then we did 3 weeks upstate and then a week in the Palladium Theatre in Times Square.
Wow.
Yeah, the week before
Wow.
Christmas.
And that was 2021.
21. Yeah,
Wow. That is amazing.
yeah. It was,
She's booked and blessed.
She is booked and blessed. And what a story too. Like, I just feel like so many like moments in your journey where you're like just showing up and doing the thing and it's just kind of working. Like that's
You're like, did I even say
amazing.
this?
literally. Well, because I talked to the rest of the cast. I was like, so what was your audition experience with this? And they're like, yeah, we submitted the Eco cast on Actors Access and then we had a self-tape. We had 3 rounds of in-person and then a final callback and then we got a,
Oh my
I was
God.
like, oh, I walked into the final callback.
You're like, I just was there.
Yeah,
I don't even know how I got there.
Literally. I was like, okay.
But I feel like that happens sometimes. And that's so good that you were like, I don't even remember auditioning for this, but okay, I guess I'm going to go
Yeah.
and
Fine.
Yeah, I'll do my research. I'll
kill this audition in my Zara dress. I'm
Literally.
obsessed.
Now my audition dress.
Good.
Like I go to every audition in it.
It's your good luck
It's a
charm.
good luck
Really.
charm. Yeah.
It's a cobalt blue, so I'm like dual tone. We're ready.
Yes.
yeah.
yeah.
I love a blue.
How does your background influence the kind of artist you are today?
That's such an interesting question, and I remember reading it, being like, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to answer this?" I don't know. Like I do know, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like I grew up a competition dancer.
Okay.
I then shifted into musicals on a whim, and then I remember in school I did like 12 musicals in 3 years, which is insane to think
Whoa.
about, especially with the niche that is musical theatre in Australia. So having that and having my parents as finance bros.
Yeah,
I was
see,
like,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
My parents, but they're like the most supportive people in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
Their motto is, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it to your best abilities. So like me and my siblings look like we're overachievers, but we just dedicate our lives to the one thing and just we have the drive to continue doing it.
I love that.
So it was always, can I do another solo? Yeah, sure. Can I do this musical that's like 40 minutes away from, like rehearsals 40 minutes away? And it's like, yeah, of course. So having that and then moving to New York, I'm like, well, yeah, of course I can do it. Like I had the support and there's never been a doubt in my mind that the support wasn't there. So
Yeah.
the confidence was there. But yeah, they're finance bros, so they had no clue what they were doing when it came to dance.
That's
especially
fair. Yeah.
because my mom wasn't allowed to dance as a kid.
Wow.
So when I saw Angeline Ballerina and I was like, I want to dance, she was like, okay.
Angelina Ballerina. You better.
Yeah, of course.
Pivotal.
I love that.
It changes lives.
It
Changes
does.
lives.
And so I like went and I did my little dance and then I fell in love.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, cool. This is it. This is
Wow.
for me. I didn't really have any doubts that it was going to be something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, pull through. We tried the sport thing. Bit too competitive. Bit of a perfectionist as well.
Yeah.
So when I was in a team sport,
Yeah.
bit tricky.
And you couldn't control like what the other people were doing. Yep. Yep.
You know how they say your team is only as strong as your weakest link? You were like, I can't do that. It needs to be I'm
Absolutely.
stronger, so enough of that.
Well, even I was like, put me up then. I would rather be the weakest link than like
I get that though,
Yeah.
because if you're the weakest link, at least you have place to grow and to
yeah.
learn.
and to like look at the people above me and be like, wow, I'm inspired to be like you.
Okay, this just made me think of a question. I'm improving. Don't hate me.
God.
Would you rather, I feel like I know the answer already, but would you rather be the best person in a dance class or the worst?
Oh, the worst.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Which is why I love taking dance class in New York.
Yeah.
Because I get in there and I'm like, wow, I
like-
could be like you.
You're like, I could, maybe one day I could do that.
No, it's not even a maybe. It's like, I will be like you. Just give me some time.
Yes.
Give me a little bit of practice and I will be like you.
I love that.
Yeah. But it's also like in New York,
Yeah.
everyone's so supportive in the class. Well, the classes I take, everyone's so supportive.
Yeah.
And it's not like a competition.
Yeah. It's really just about like growing and
Exactly.
getting
Where do you
better.
do classes at?
Steps.
Love.
I love
Steps,
steps.
girl. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I've never taken a class at Steps. Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Only
no.
BDC. But I need to change that soon.
You do.
I love Steps. I used to work there. So I was like,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I really need to
Yeah, I do
lose
love it
my
up there.
Steps card.
I just feel it's so much more open. Like the studios, like
the
literally
space.
are open.
Yeah.
So I don't feel as claustrophobic as I normally do in a normal dance studio.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like look out and I'm like, oh, Upper West Side, you're so pretty. And then
You're like, oh.
and then I'm like, okay, focus, plie, got it. But yeah, no, I would rather be the weakest link.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, I love that. I think that that's like the right mentality, right? Like you're always trying to get better. What would you say makes you not from here?
Probably the accent.
You're like accent, big one.
Yeah, the accent, the upbringing.
Yeah.
It's so interesting talking to Americans about their high school experience
yeah.
and just about like all the like everyday tasks
Yeah.
that they went through. Like I've never had a snow day. Doesn't drop below like maybe 30s.
Have you ever had a snow day here?
I think so, probably because when I moved, it was
Yeah.
the polar vortex in New York.
Oh my God, wait, no, yes, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit hectic.
December of like fall of 2019, or December of fall. What? December of 2019. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But even like you were here during the pandemic a lot with school too. So they probably just would have been like virtual classes instead of snow
Yeah,
days.
Exactly. So
Wow.
I don't even think I had a snow day. But yeah. And
You're
then,
like, no snow days.
That shit.
And just like
you're missing out. Snow days were the best.
well, but it's even like we'll get to hundreds like in Australia.
Oh my God.
And my
Well,
high
they have
school-
like heat days. I don't know what to
you
call
would
them.
expect it, but no.
That is crazy.
I know. So we'd be just like sweating our little butts off in class. Being like,
That is
looking at the
kinda
time,
crazy.
Being like, when can we get out of here?
Like, when can we
Yeah.
go?
Yeah. But we're a coastal city, so we get the coastal breeze. So it's
Mhm.
not as warm. But in 100, it's still pretty hot.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
getting up there.
Yeah.
That is hot.
Yeah.
Switching over a little bit, I mean, we've kind of been all over the place talking about everything, but technically under our like New York segment, what does your life look like when you're here? Like, what do you do? Like, you're here for 5 weeks. Tell us a little bit about like what you have planned, like what that looks like.
Well, I'm here with my best friend, so it's a bit differently.
Okay,
Bit different
yes,
from New
tell
York-
us.
From Sydney, sorry. So she's never been to New York before. So I'm acting as a tourist guide.
That's
Oh
so
my
fun.
God, that's so special.
Yeah, so we're staying in a sublet, and so it's like a bit more normal than like being in a hotel.
Yes.
Because hotels are expensive in New York.
Oh my God, yeah.
But so we're seeing all the touristy things, but also we're taking classes every day, like most days a week
Yeah.
at Steps. And I've been like, I'm catching up with all my mentors and like
Yeah.
singing with my singing teacher over here,
Yeah.
seeing shows because there's so many shows that I
Many
haven't
shows
seen
right
yet.
now. Oh my God.
What have you seen so
yeah.
far?
What have you been seeing?
I got it.
She's been here for like 4 days. We're
No,
like,
I'm like, tell us what
tell
you
us
saw.
every single show.
Okay, I've been here for 4 days, but I've seen 3 shows. yes. So on Saturday, I saw Chicago Matinee with Ariana. She's so good.
Wait.
No, she's like incredible.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think because it was stunt cast, but like
Yeah.
knowing her background as being an actress, I was like, okay, cool.
But
This
she
is
was
sick.
good?
She was good. She was really good. So yeah, so Chicago Matinee, and then I saw Sweeney Todd evening performance, and like it was a thing of, we did an open call in the morning, and we're walking home from Pearl, and I was like walking past Chicago, and I was like, should we just go see if there's like standing room?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Georgia was like, yeah, let's go see. She didn't know what standing room was. We don't have it in
She was
Australia.
like, yeah.
Sure,
So I walked
whatever.
in, and they were like, yeah, we have standing room for the matinee. I was like, great. sounds good. And then at 5, when like everyone took their phone out, we like sprinted out and I was like, let's see if Hadestown has standing room. They didn't, unfortunately. So I was like,
Jill.
maybe Sweeney Todd, like we could be pushing it. And then they're like, yeah, it's the 2 last standing rooms. And I was like, great.
It was fake.
Okay, did you see it with Aaron Tveit?
Yeah, of
and
course.
Sutton?
Yeah.
How were they?
Insane. It was, I've never seen Sweeney Todd, didn't really know much about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's crazy.
Knew it was Sondheim. So I was like, okay, well, like, king. And I was like, wow, this is insane. But then I was like watching it and Georgia and I literally had the same thought at the same time in the musical, being like, musical theater's so weird. We're like, wow,
like, what?
this is so strange. But yeah, and then yesterday, Sunday, we did 6. Yeah.
You know we're 6 girlies.
We're
No, I
6
know.
girls.
Which is, I was hesitant to say 6 because I had just done the audition in Australia for 6 Australia. And I was like,
okay.
is this going to cut too deep? And then I got drunk at brunch yesterday. And we were like,
You're
let's go
like-
see if they have tickets.
had you already seen it before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it in Broadway in 2022. Yeah.
Who was your Seymour? Was
I
it
cannot
Abby Mueller?
remember. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I had the
He's just
next
like, I have to know.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed. I'm like, tell me. Also, going back, you saw Waitress. Any chance you remember who you saw it with?
Nicole? Leslie Odom Jr.'s, isn't that his
Wait.
wife?
Yes. What is
Yeah.
her last name? I'm going to look it up. I have to.
But yeah, because that was in 2018 and then I saw it in 2021. No, when I moved, 2019 again. And my dad and I,
Issa's having like a whole like crisis.
I cannot find Safari on my phone right now. Okay, I found it.
and then when I started in 2019, my dad and I were hoping for like a little Jordan Sparks moment, but we got Stephanie Torrance instead.
Okay.
Whoa.
Everything okay out there?
But she was insane. And she's also a teacher at AMDA. So
Oh.
we saw her the week before I started classes. And then the next week she was in the hallway.
You
I
were
was
like,
like,
oh.
That
You were
is
like,
crazy.
I just saw you.
I saw you on Broadway. That's insane.
That is insane to then be like, hi, oh my God, I'm your student. Like,
Yeah.
please teach me your ways.
No, literally. So yeah, that was cool.
What are you looking up over there?
No, I'm struggling. Oh, wait, no. Nicole Dennis.
Yeah, I think so. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was her.
We did our best. We tried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any New York horror stories?
Yes.
Oh my God,
I
yes.
really
You
reckon-
lived here for so long. Like, you gotta have some good ones.
Okay, I know, but like this is like the beginning. So I moved over here and I went straight into classes like within the week. And my body like kind of shut down. My pelvic floor gave away.
Okay.
So within the first week of moving here, I know this is like a bit TMI, I peed myself 3 times.
Oh my
But like
God.
not just like peeing myself, like
It was like a full
I
stream.
peed myself.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't something that I could like control. And it was the scariest thing in the world. I was like, what is
Pelvic
going
floor.
on with my body? Like,
Okay,
mom.
new fear unlocked.
No, I was like,
Literally.
I was like, Mom, like, what's going on? Like, do I need to come home? Like, my body just like won't stop peeing. And she was like, we were both doing our research, and she was like, no, this is your body's like shock system going into place. So like, you're by yourself in New York, and your pelvic floor is just like, no, I can't do it anymore. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And I remember one time I peed myself, and I got all over my boots, and I was like, okay. And then I got back to the dorms. I changed myself. I couldn't find one of the boots. And so I was like, okay. And my roommate and I were like, well, I guess it's gone. We don't know where it's gone, but it's gone.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wear my boots, and they were really cute. And it wasn't until we were moving out of that room that we finally found the boot with all the pee on it underneath our like sink thing. And we were like, what?
The fact it was just chilling there.
But like,
for so
months.
long.
That
and
is-
there wasn't even a stench. We were like, surely. But yeah, that was like horrible.
not
to
your
have.
boot.
I know.
Not your
Like-
body fully just being like, I can't handle this transition. Let me just pee.
I need at least a couple
need
of
to-
weeks where I
I
can
need
just
to
pee
release.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom was like, I think you can go to a physiotherapist or like a gyno or
I mean, yeah,
someone.
that's
Yeah.
so scary. And you just moved here by yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just like start doing like pelvic floor exercises,
Yeah.
like strengthen it. But like this normally happens after you give birth. So
Yeah. You're like,
You were like,
I'm 18.
weird.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Weird. So how did you fix it, if you don't mind me asking?
I just
It just
decided
went away?
I just decided it doesn't happen. And
I
I just
love
kept
that.
moving.
She just turned it off. And
I was like,
If you just ignore it,
I had too much to focus on.
you were
was
like, one of these days I'm going to stop peeing.
Yeah, no, literally. I was like, I have so much homework. I need to learn all these new songs and scenes. Like, I can't deal with this right now. I won't.
I'm just not going
I'm just not going.
It's
So I'm just
over.
gonna keep moving and hope for the best.
I love that. I mean, it worked out for you.
Yeah.
You were fine.
Exactly. But yeah, no, that was hectic. And my roommate was the only one who knew what was going on.
I mean,
And I was like, thank you for keeping my secret, Julia. But like,
You're
this
like,
is crazy.
for going through that with me and my boots and finding one eventually later.
Yeah. She also was the one to find it. So I was like, oh, thanks. Thank you.
She knew.
Yeah.
She's like, this is the pee boot.
She's like, this is
Exactly.
your boot from when you pee.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wild.
I love it. Okay, how about any interesting audition stories besides your Zara dress one, which also was pretty iconic?
Yeah, I think that's basically
That's like
it.
your funny
Unfortunately.
one.
I remember, well, there's another one where I did White Christmas again,
Okay.
an open call. And it was a dance call first, a Broadway style. And then they did cut and like tapping. And I was like, great, cool. I tapped for my life. I just like put on a show, hope for the best. And then they did another cut and I sang. And I was like, great, this is cool. And then I was walking home and I happened to bump into my tap teacher. And I was like, Nick, like I just did this tap call and like I feel like it didn't go too well. Like I'm so sorry for not doing you justice. And he was like, no, like you're a good tapper. Like you need to like get that mindset out. And I was like, okay. But like, it wasn't good.
But that didn't go.
No.
Yeah.
And then I went to the final callbacks for that Legally Blonde tour. And the director of White Christmas was on the panel and he took me aside and he was like, hey, like, I just want to let you know I want to offer you White Christmas. And I was like, oh my gosh, great, thank you. He goes, it is conflicting with these dates and right now you're like in the top running for this, for the national tour. But like, yeah, if you don't get it, please come do White Christmas. And I was like, okay, I'll let you know, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, by the way, your tap teacher and I are friends. And I was like, oh. He goes, yeah, I actually got a drink with him that night after the call and he told me that you said that you didn't do tap. And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, no, like you were fine. And I was like, okay. He goes, no, you did great. Like you should be proud of
He's
yourself.
like, I am offering you the
Yeah.
job.
And I was like, obviously you weren't looking at my feet because I missed every single bell. Like there wasn't a point in time that I did your version of a time step.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you're great, you're fine. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then yeah, I did the contract and it was like fine.
Wait, which one? White Christmas?
White Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Legally Blonde didn't happen. Which is fine.
It'll come back.
It'll come back.
It always comes back.
Exactly. And then but in the Legally Blonde
Yes.
audition, I always like forget these things happen and then like it prompts me. I forgot that there's skipping in Legally Blonde. I forget that it's part of a number. And I've fully done Legally Blonde before. So I
Skipping?
like jump rope. Sorry.
Oh.
We call it skipping. Jump rope.
Stop.
We were like, I
We
thought
were
you
like-
meant like when you
literally
skipping jump rope. I was like,
I
wait,
love
what
that.
song are
Okay.
they skipping?
Language barrier. But yeah, so I forgot that happens. And then they were like, you're going to do some jump rope. And I was like, okay. Once again, my pelvic floor wasn't great. And I did pee myself in the audition. And I was like, hopefully they can't tell because I'm wearing a light blue skirt this time.
It blends in.
Yeah, I was
Oh my
like, hopefully
God.
this works. Anyway, I'm doing my jump rope and I'm like killing it. Because in Australia, we do jump rope for heart.
Okay.
Like when we're in like
Oh,
elementary.
yeah.
So we would be doing skipping like 5 minutes a day, every day for like
Yeah.
That's
solidly.
so funny. They're just like training you from a young age.
And so
You were like, I was born for this.
I know. So I walked in and I was like, okay, my double unders are great. But yeah, I peed myself and I was like, remember posting on my close friends being like, hey guys, like, has anyone else done this before? Because this just happened. And I had so many people be like, yeah, I've done that before. And I'm like, great, it's not just me.
Okay, there you go. At least it's not just you.
Not the pelvic floor coming back.
No.
It was like you thought I was gone. Think again.
No. And I was like, I did my nervous pee. Like, what's going on right now?
You're like, I literally peed 5 minutes ago. This is so not fair.
Yeah.
I know there's nothing in there. I haven't even drank water.
Exactly. I was like, this dance call was hard, but I did not drink water in case I missed out on something.
Did it get on the floor?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay, good.
It was just a little one,
Whew.
thank goodness.
Just a little one.
And I like did the whole thing when you like go into the bathroom, like do a quick check afterwards.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything, but I could have dried quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Worst
those-
things have happened.
Wow.
Exactly. Well, that's my thing now. I'm like, if I walk into an audition and like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I've already stuffed up a song before, paid myself.
That
Like-
is such a good.
Like, what is the
Perspective.
worst thing that can happen? I fall on my bum.
Yeah.
Like, I do that every day anyway. So,
it
Yeah.
can't get much worse.
Yeah.
You're like, I literally peed myself. Like falling on my butt is gonna be just
you roll
another
and stand
day.
up and you keep going. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a really great perspective. I mean, obviously, like, just met you. So you just like radiate this like confidence and like just like you have such a great mentality. Like you're like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna like, what's the worst that can happen? Like I knew that I was meant to do this like my whole life. So why
yeah,
not just keep
I was
doing
having
it?
a singing lesson before I came to New York, and me and my teacher were just like going through all my material.
Yeah.
And she was like, so like, what are your thoughts on auditions? Like, where do we need to discuss? And I go, nah, I'm fine. She's
You're like, "I'm
what do you mean? I go, it's just another performance. For an intimate performance for another team.
For just like a couple of people.
yeah. And
Watching me on their
They're
laptop.
lucky.
yeah.
VIP.
Maybe not even looking up at me, but like I'm there.
You're like, I'm performing. You're basically on a TV show. You're just
And
in
she
the
was
background
like-
doing a time stop.
No, literally. And she was like, great, go back to singing. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Sounds good.
But I mean, the longer I'm here, the more I realize genuinely, like, it's about like how long can you just like keep going at it?
Mm-hmm.
Because like it does get to a point where it's like hard, or you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of doing this or whatever. But I just feel like you have to just keep going. And it's like that's the divide between the people that quit or go home. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, there's also like the mentality that like that's not going to be me. And I feel like if you have that mentality, like it's not going to be you. Like you're not
Yeah.
going to go home if you're like, why would I, like this is where I'm meant to be, kind of.
Oh, for sure.
I just love that. Yeah.
And my mum will tell you, she's like, whenever someone asks her, being like, oh, like, what's it like having your daughter over across the world? And she goes, oh, like, I know it's going to happen. If, like, she was never going to stay in Sydney, she was always going to move to New York or London. Like, this was never a thing. And I was like, oh my God, thanks, Mom.
You're like, thanks.
No.
But that is such a great like support system to kind of boost you
Yeah,
to be like, I can do whatever.
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, girl.
Well, I don't know if we've even said this, like how we all like even met, how we got here today to this couch.
Oh, true.
Chloe sent us an email, which
She
like,
did.
you guys, it's as easy as that. You want to sit on this couch? Send us an email.
Send us an email to both of us. Shame. Sorry. But anyway.
Sorry.
But literally, like, she just reached out and was like, listen, like, not from here. Like, I am not from here. And we were like, okay, yes, like, this is absolutely something that we would, like, love to do.
Hear about. Oh my God.
Yes,
Yeah.
like your experiences are so unique, and like somehow you still have like such a good like mentality and perspective. Like it feels like you're a New Yorker. Like you're like, no, yes, like I'm here. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love that.
But in that email, you included some of your like experience overall. And so I just wanted to ask about, you worked with Todd Gershwin, correct?
Yeah.
And then you also did like an immersive musical with Dave Malloy. Like, please tell
Tell
us.
us.
So, Todd Gershwin was great. He, well, at least with my experience, he was really good. And we also were in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Always goes back.
Yep.
circle back to that. So we had, we were in a bubble. And so it was a bit insane doing performances in Times Square and then having to like do the hour and a half back up to upstate where the cheaper hotels were at.
Yeah. Wow.
But like, it was so accommodating. It was my first time being a swing.
Mhm.
And I actually didn't know what a swing was until getting the job.
Yeah.
And then I did
They're
it.
like, surprise.
I did it, fell in love with it.
Yeah.
But it was like the 3 tracks that I was swinging for were in a 3-part harmony the whole entire show.
Stop.
So I had to obviously learn all the harmonies. And the one harmony that I didn't like was the middle track.
Of course.
And it was the one that I had to go on for.
Of
Yep.
course.
Yeah. So that was so much fun. But everyone was so accommodating. I was the weakest link in that cast because I was the youngest by far. I turned 21 during that contract. Everyone else had done a bachelor's.
Okay.
Obviously, they were a bit older. But yeah, it was so much fun. Literally still keep in contact with the cast. We're all like, I'm going to get drinks with them tonight.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Like, it's so much
amazing.
fun. And then, yeah, that happened and I did my audition grind and the choreographer from my showcase, my amateur showcase,
Yes.
was like, if you get an email soon, by the way, I put your headshot and resume in for something. I was like, great. Okay, thanks. And yeah, it was the Dave Malloy Hermes collab. Hermes's flagship store was changing locations
Oh, okay.
and to around the block. And so his immersive musical Love Around the Block was bringing it to life and getting everyone from one place to another.
Whoa.
And like I was a persuader, which is a glorified usher.
Okay.
Slay.
But I
Persuader.
Yeah, I know. But it was like the most insane thing because you had Broadway vets in this cast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, there's Cara Lindsay right there just about to like
Yeah.
sing a little solo. Okay.
Sing a little ditty. It's
Yeah.
fine.
But it was the most insane thing. It was like a week crash course for us. We did it. And then at the end, they were like, oh, if you want to go to the after party, you can. So like just rock up to an Hermes after party with all these like millionaires because they're investors.
Yeah.
And it was the most surreal thing in the world.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like they shut down blocks of New York to like have it.
That's kind of an insane thing to do for a store opening. Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
I know, but I was like, it's Hermes. There's nothing.
No,
I can't
like-
expect anything less. Like half of the cast were wearing their like mini Kellys
Of course.
or like their little belts. And I was like, oh my God.
You think they texted before? They were like, you guys wear your mini Kellys today.
No.
Chloe's like,
I don't know one.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the contract where I was walking up Madison Ave to like get my hair and makeup done. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing the thing.
Oh.
Like, I was like, this is what I've dreamt of.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I'd gone through my breakup like a month beforehand. And so I was like, wow, this is like insane that like I can do this all by myself.
Yeah.
I'm doing the thing. Because like it was also under an NDA. So we couldn't say
Mhm.
anything
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
at all. At least I didn't say anything because like NDAs and I'm an international and I don't want to get
You're like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying. Yeah, I'm playing by the rules.
and so the only person who knew, people that knew about it were like the people in the cast.
Yeah.
And luckily one of my best friends was in it, but I was like,
Whoa.
this is surreal. Like I can't tell
Yeah.
my roommates.
Yeah.
Like when I went to rehearsals, I was just going to rehearsals. It wasn't like, yeah, I'm going to rehearse for Hermes
Yeah.
and Dave Malloy.
No, it was just, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I'm in this thing.
yeah.
That's it.
I'm in the same.
Which is so crazy to think about now that I'm like,
Yeah.
I kept this under, like I'm not very good at keeping secrets. So I
But
was
you
like,
did great,
I was
clearly.
like, wow.
You made it out of the
Yeah.
NDA.
You did.
That was a bit hard.
You're like, I've never.
This is
had
a tell-all now.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great experience, but yeah, it was
Literally.
lots of fun.
That is incredible. Oh my God. Okay. So as we wrap up here, do you have any like dream roles or shows that like are on the radar for you?
I've always wanted to originate a role. That's
Ooh,
always
okay.
been my thing. When everyone asks that question, I'm like, no, I want to originate it because I don't like getting compared to. So I'm like, let me originate a role.
I love that.
But if I had to like, if I twist my arm, I would love to be Ariel in Footloose.
Oh, I see that for you.
I
see that too.
I love Footloose as a musical.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I can be Ariel. Like, give me my red boots.
Yeah.
I'll be a little cowgirl for a little bit.
I love that. That
And
is
now
such a
I-
like good dream role.
Now after
Dream
seeing
show.
6, I'm like, okay, well, hand me Berlin.
Fine.
You're like,
That'll be a little bit.
fine. Oh,
Yeah, but I'm still like,
Berlin.
yeah, it's a thing to grow up to. I was like watching it, I was like, I'm so young compared to everyone on stage right now. This is crazy.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
No, I know, but I'm like, it's okay if I get cut right now.
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Oh, I'm in
Yeah.
that mindset. I'm not
Yeah.
like, I need to be on stage, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I
Obviously, I'm-
still have so much time.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
rush.
no rush.
100%
It'll happen
no
when it
rush.
happens.
And you're already doing so much at such a young age too. I feel like we talk about this a lot, but like sometimes I feel like I undermine so many of like the things that we do because I'm like, well, I haven't done like enough at my age, right? But it's crazy when you think about it. Like it's all about like the small details like along the way that aren't small. You know, like the contracts you've booked, this Hermes thing you were doing, like in the moment, like, yeah, it's a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever. But over time, like those are stepping stones that you're building. And you're going to look back one day and be like,
Exactly. And I'm also in the mindset of like, yeah, this is my career and I really want it, but I don't want to give up the like fundamental friendships or family events.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want that balance and I want
Yeah.
to be able to have this silly goose stories of me and my friends getting really drunk in New York City at brunch
There's a
because
balance.
I didn't go to that open call.
Yeah.
I feel like one of our favorite conversations that constantly comes up is just the fact that like sometimes you have to prioritize being a human over an artist
Yeah.
because it can be exhausting and draining and frankly just very lonely if you just focus on your career 24/7 and cut out that those random nights at the bar or like brunch because I need to go to this like open call.
Yeah.
And so I think this conversation was just so refreshing in the fact of just like you got to be human sometimes and you got to do the thing. And sometimes a pandemic happens and
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But also I wanted to say I really resonated with just the idea that everyone knows everyone in this industry. And it's crazy. Like all your stories, you're like, yeah, this person just knew this person or this person just put in my headshot. And then like, it's just, wow. Like I've always heard that the theater community is so small, but like, wow.
Well, that's the thing though. Like graduating from AMDA, I was like, I need to keep these connections because they're going to pull me through.
Help you down the line.
Yeah. And like even like before I came, I had a teacher message me being like, "You're going to be in New York in March." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." She was great. I have a music video for you. I was like, sick. Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. But it's because I got coffee with her after.
Yeah.
And after I graduated and because I follow her on social media, they're like,
Because you
keeps, I'm like, I'm still here. by
you're
the way.
nurturing that
Yeah.
relationship.
I'm a squeaky wheel.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
as you should
yeah.
be.
There's only one way. Like it's a game. Life's a
Yeah.
game.
Life is a game.
You just got to play it right. And everyone plays it differently.
Yeah. Ooh.
Where can the people find you on social media, Chloe?
Instagram.
Yes.
It's just Chloe.Gabila.
Love it.
Yeah. That's it.
You're like, I feel like that is so true with our generation. It's like, Instagram.
Like I'm not that big on TikTok.
Yeah, no.
So yeah.
Instagram it is.
Instagram it is.
Well-
I promise you it's entertaining.
That's where to find her for any needs, any friend needs, and any artist needs.
If you want to keep up with us on social media, our is at notfromhere.podcast. That is NOTFROMHERE.PODCAST. And as always, I am Riley Klauza.
I am Isa Rodriguez.
And I'm Chloe Gabila.
And we are definitely
Not from here. Bye.
Thanks, Chloe. Bye.
Amazing.
That was so great. Do you feel good?
Yeah. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
3, 2,